Hi, rinig niyo ako? Malinaw? Okay. So, ano yung magiging medium natin? Is it pure English or Taglish or Tagalog?
Hello.
Yes, hello?
And
Ano
pure
yung magiging
English.
medium of communication?
Pure English daw po.
Okay. Alright.
Hindi pa po kami nag-set
Sige.
sa pure English.
Um, let's start.
Kailangan ako. Ha? Hindi ako. Wait lang po. Anong sabihin mo? Sabihin mo.
Are are we
Arian.
are we recording na the video?
Yes. Kanina pa po.
Okay.
Ikakat naman.
Sige. All right, siguro it's good to
So,
start with letting you know what our company does first, so that you would have a good background on the department that I handle and how ITIL is being applied. Are you okay with that?
yes. Okay.
Okay. So our company is GHD. The letters actually stand for the three people who built this company um, in the early 1940s. The business of the company is um, they are into um, providing services, engineering services, particularly on water, environment, transportation, energy and resources, and property and buildings. So I guess one example would be the engineers build or gets projects from clients. If there's an opportunity, for example, to build a dam, those are the things that they design. And when they win the project, they would work with the company to get that project started until they finish it. So another example in energy and resources is um, we have different um, sources of energy. They are our company mostly look at the natural energy resource such as geothermal, natural gas. So our engineers are also um, conducting studies on several places, for example, in the Philippines, to look at the possibilities of um, getting energy from a certain location. So things like that. Property and buildings and mining is also a part of what our company does. Now, we are a global company and we have around 8,000 plus. Um, we are located, our companies have offices in different regions. So it's a global company. And um, for for a company this big, of course, they're supposed to have IT. The term that we use in our company is information services, so it's IS. You might be, um, I might be mentioning IS several times during this interview, so just a heads up. And I am the service delivery manager of our help desk. So we cater to, of course, the 8,000 plus employees. If they have any IT related issues, we are the first point of contact. If we can resolve their request, or issues on our end, then we may do so. But we also work with other IS teams, those who specialize in different areas of the IT environment, such as infrastructure, um, data communications, applications infrastructure, and systems infrastructure. So, um, well, you all know that there are several bits and pieces of IT. Um, so our company has that kind of setup, but we will probably focus more on the service delivery side, because this is where ITIL practices are mostly being used. So, before we start, do you have any questions or clarifications?
Nothing much. So
Okay.
let's start.
Um, okay. Let's start.
So you, um,
Sorry, who's going to ask the first question?
our first question is about. So, my name is Alfredo Vargas, the fourth, and our my first question is about incident management.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? What procedures do you usually consider in resolving an incident, and can you give us example?
Okay, sure. Um, the basic procedure is, I guess, we someone lodge an incident on our service desk system, and that becomes, or that creates a ticket, which we will then have to look at. Based on the incident, we will try to gather information. um, So the more information we get, the more we are able to have, I guess, a very clear description on what the incident is. And then from there, with the knowledge and tools that is provided to us, we troubleshoot the issue. And once the issue has been resolved, then that's where we resolve the incident. So it's um, if we confirm with the customers that the issue is resolved, that's the time that we close the incident or resolve the incident. One example would be, um, the simplest form, I guess, a password reset. So we seldom get these requests because in our company, I think the engineers really have a good memory, so they rarely have password issues. But when we encounter some password issues, we get into our tool, put their account, reset their password, and provide them with a password. Another example would be, if most of the engineers that are working in our company use Autodesk products. If you're not quite familiar with that, Autodesk is the company that develops AutoCAD software. So we deal with a lot of those. If there's something, if an engineer reports that there's something wrong with their software, then we remote their machine. We look at the error, and we gather as much information as we can. And then we try to identify the root cause, look for the resolution, provide the resolution, ask the customer if the issue is resolved, and that's when we close the incident.
Sir, thank you for the answer. I'm Kirill Bunyag. has there been an incident where you have been escalated, sir, or a colleague of yours has been escalated?
Yes. Um, a few of those has happened in our company, and that's a normal thing to happen. Um, Let me think of my own personal experience. Well, in this company, back in 2012, when I joined them, I started out as a technician or an IT help desk personnel. So since I was new then, I'm not very familiar with how everything works. So there has been an issue that or an incident that was raised by one of our customers regarding the templates that they use for Microsoft Word. Because in our company they use a standard template um, to deal with their clients. So they one of the guys is creating a document and there was an error. So I was looking into our knowledge base. Knowledge base basically is where all of the technical um, knowledge are stored, which is previously created by different technicians. So we usually base our resolutions from there. So I picked up a knowledge article which was not really fit for the issue that the customer called in for. So I applied that, and it turned out that it corrupted the document instead of fixing it. So um, I was escalated, and me and my manager talked about that. So what we just usually do is they provide coaching for us, and make sure that it's not gonna happen again. So I guess that's one example from my own personal experience.
Sir, follow-up question po. How
Mhm.
many escalations do you usually get in a year?
Okay. When you say escalation, yeah, it actually comes in different forms. We have in our service desk ticketing system. Um, every time we resolve an issue, it sends out an email to our customers, and the purpose of that is to get a survey or to get what their thoughts are on the service that was provided. And the rating is 1 to 10. We rarely get as when it's below 6, it's already considered as an escalation because we as managers we have to investigate what happened in that particular incident, so we can make sure that it's going to be dealt with and it's not going to happen again. Um, so based from the last report that I generated, there were about 4% 4% of escalation um, for this year. So um, that would be it. Just to give you the exact figure of how many tickets that we've already been able to resolve for this year, it's about 45,000. So I guess you could. It's safe to say that the escalation is really very low at 4%. Did I answer your question? Okay. Another form of escalation when um, is when we get an email directly from customers who did not have a good experience with one of our technicians who assisted them. That's also one form of escalation. So if we get that, we talk to the customer. We ask. questions and identify what was wrong, or if there is any process or there were any processes that was not followed correctly, and we laid them out and make sure that we prevent any occurrence on the on that issue. So yeah.
Good day po, sir. This is Christian Camo, and here's my question
Mhm.
po. How is incident management related to other processes of service management in your company?
Okay. Mm, okay. So I'm not sure exactly how this question will go, but if I may clarify, are you saying that, or are you asking how other service management in our company is
Related.
um, related to what we're currently doing in IS or in IT?
Yes, yes po.
Okay. So, well, of course, in a large organization, you would have uh, different functions. So we have HR, we have the accounting or financial shared services. We also have IT. Those are all types of services. For example, in accounts, um, they deal with payroll and the login and log out of the staff in the office. So if you are to raise something to them, because for example you didn't get the pay that you got from last payout was not correct, and you would need to clarify that, that's already considered as an incident, and that will also be raised to the appropriate department, which is the accounting. Another example is in HR. They handle, of course, recruitment and the benefits of the employees, such as Pag-ibig, SSS, and what have you. So if you have an issue with your benefits, then you will also raise this concern to the HR department. For example, your loan in SSS has not the payment of your loan in SSS has not reflected correctly in the website. So you would need to raise that to the HR department as well. So again, that's another type of incident. Um, I guess the only difference is the HR department, the financial shared services, or in the accounting department in our office. They do not use in our department. We don't use the similar tools to manage incidents. Um, it's probably because the accounts department or the other departments is not too large to I mean to be able to have a tool such as what we have, or the incidents is not the incidents that come to them is um, not really a large number compared to IT service request or IT related incidents. So I guess that's the difference, and that's how it's related. Did I answer your question?
Yes po. Thank you po.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is Kim Reyes, and the next question is that during incidents, could you share an example of a time when you had to multitask and make sound judgments in a fast paced, high stress environment while at the same time keeping people in order?
Okay. Sure. Hmm. Okay. So there was um there was this time when we're doing our usual work in the office, and then one of our so it's actually business as usual during the first part of I guess uh, the shift, and we had a few people who were not able to come to work because of sickness and other reasons. So I was a team leader yet at that time, and for us to be able to make adjustments on on the incidents and requests that came in on that day, I would have to process incidents and tickets as well. Um, it's not a usual work of the team leader, but um, we have to do that when we face that kind of scenario. So while doing tickets or while processing tickets, talking to customers, I'm also generating reports so that I can figure out what strategy I would need to do on that day, um, for my team to be able to close um, all the tickets that comes into our shift, and minimize the bulk of tickets that will be transferred to the second shift. And on the last 3 hours of our shift, there was a storm, and the advice of the office manager was to send people home because it's no longer safe to stay in the office. Um, in um, in times like that, we have this protocol called business continuity. So, as a 24 by 7 support, we would need to, since we cater globally, we would need to have a redundancy, or what you call a continuity of the service. So, while doing all those things that I've mentioned previously, I'm also managing how to start the business continuity program, because we have to adjust some settings on how the phone calls will flow, how the tickets will come in, and how the other functions of the help desk will be disabled. So since I was the only one who have access at that point, I did those things. Um, um, I guess all at the same time, and it was pretty hard, but it was also challenging. Um, but just to give you an advice, multitasking is not always very effective because you tend to risk the quality of the work that you're focusing on. But in a service desk environment, that's actually a required skill. So, well, at the end, no, after the day ended for us, it was good because we had a lot of processes in place to get those things going right away. And I was also part of building those processes. Um, and I guess in relation to ITIL, you would always need to structure or have a process when these things occur, so that you would not to have a hard time making a decision on for your team and for the business. So there.
Okay. Sir, if it's not too confidential, can I ask you what factors you usually consider to determine the danger level of an incident?
Sorry, could you repeat your question? You're coming in too soft.
Are what are the usual factors that you consider to determine the danger level of an incident?
Danger level of an incident. Okay, that's a good question. It depends on the business side of things. It always depends on the amount of money that's at risk. So I'll give you a scenario. The engineers or the employees in the operations in GHT deal with a lot of clients, and a lot of their work is also marketing. They market their product or their the skills of the engineers and find opportunities to I guess make business with different kinds of clients. And there in a business environment, there's always a small client and a big client. There was one time when our staff in Manila was dealing with avoidees. By the way, Aboitis is also in the business of looking for clean energy resource, which is a service that our company provides. And some the employee in GHD raised an incident, um, and we didn't know the priority at first, but the person, the staff in Manila, called us multiple times, and they told us that the meeting that or the project that they're supposed to work on cost around um, 10, 10, 10 to 15 million, or I think it was more than that. So for them, it was a big client, and that's, I guess, the deciding factor as to how you would treat an incident's priority. So an incident could be categorized as priority 1 to 5, 1 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. Um, so that's on the business side of things. But well, I guess it doesn't differ much on the IT side of things, because there are certain incidents that require it, basically if the customer cannot do their primary job at that moment, then it's when the priority goes up. I hope I answered that to your satisfaction.
This is the last question for the incident management.
Okay.
Do, do you have any color indicator, for example, like the green, amber, and red to indicate a level of risk, like
Okay.
yes.
The system that we use is well, you know what? Yes, there is actually. Um, it if you categorize let's the example is our service desk ticket system. So if the incident is categorized as priority 5, um, the text on the spreadsheet is light gray. When it's priority 4, it's black. When it's priority 3, it's green. When it's priority 2, it's blue. And priority 1, it will be red.
Um, Hi, my name is Francisco Aquino III, and my question is about problem management.
Mm-hmm.
How do you resolve the problem um, about problem management.
Okay. Are you referring to the problem of the heart?
Problem you encounter in problem management.
Okay. So, I guess you already have a background on what a problem is. A problem can be considered when there's a multiple incident being reported. If it's two, if it's above two, then we can if it's above two incidents, we can already consider that as a problem. So let's say someone from office reported that they cannot access their email in Outlook, and suddenly a few people are coming in to report the same issue. Then that's when we already lodge a problem. Now, when a problem is created, we send a notification to um, the stakeholders, usually the customers or the people or the staff in whole Manila. So what we do is to engage the. Remember, I told you about um, different IS teams or different IT department. So in that case, we contact the applications infrastructure to investigate as to why the people could not um, get their emails or could not send or receive emails. Now, based from their investigation, of course, they will troubleshoot the issue. And if they have identified what causes the issue, they apply the fix. They get back to the service desk and let us know that they have fixed the problem, and we then need to confirm with the multiple incidents that were logged by service desk. We need to confirm with our customers if those issues were resolved. If it's 100%, then it's when we close the problem ticket.
Um,
Did I
an
go ahead?
yes, thank you for your answer, sir. In your company, does the use of social media is can you use social media in your company?
Mm,
Like
um, it's a yes and no. We are some the Facebook is actually a social media that almost everyone in our company has access to. But this is really not a business related social media website, so we discourage people from using that. But there's also other social media that are required by some staff in the company. For example, the marketing department, they regularly log into Yammer or LinkedIn because that's where they try to prospect their clients and look for. Well, LinkedIn is also being used by our HR recruitment, of course, so they could look for uh, people that they will be needing to join the company, for example. So yeah, it's a yes and no.
Um, yes. I have a question again. Um, During the release of a certain app called Pokemon Go, some of the companies had um, measures that required um, a way of monitoring the works that they have done a the day. Um, does this happen to you, to the company you work in also? Like for example, since since Pokemon Go has been viral, some companies tend to monitor the work done by the employees because of the after effects of playing Pokemon Go.
Okay. I can share a couple of funny stories regarding that one. So we the in our schedule, which is 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. We cater the Australia and New Zealand region, and of course half of well, almost three quarters of the shift in our Manila office. So we regularly have a monthly catch up with the local IT or local IS in New Zealand. And one of the managers told us that they had a high usage of bandwidth in their phones due to the use of Pokemon Go. So in New Zealand, they have a different setup. It's not like other regions, like here in the Philippines. So our phones, the phones that the office supply us, we have an unlimited access to the internet. So Anli. So that's it's not going to be a problem. But for New Zealand, they are only allotted for a certain amount of data, and most of them, even those people who are using the company phones, are have used up their data because of playing Pokemon Go. So in terms of productivity, I'm sure that it has a lot of effect on that. Another story that I'd like to share you, which happened in our own Manila office, is um, people the office the operating center manager in Manila found out that the productivity for the last quarter of the engineers was not too great, and he regularly receives a report that shows the internet usage of all the staff in Manila. So it turns out that the acceptable usage of the internet was extremely high. So he, of course, the by the way, the what caused the high usage of the internet is video streaming. That was, I guess, also the time when the finals of the NBA was being shown. So maybe there are a lot of basketball fans in the office, and they were streaming the basketball games through YouTube in HD, and uh, that's the main reason as to based on their analysis, that's the main reason that drove the poor performance of the engineers.
Yes, thank you po. Do you do you use laptops and like do you utilize SharePoint?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we do.
Um,
So you wanna you want me to talk more about SharePoint?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I'm not too savvy on the development side of things because I'm merely focused on service desk. But we do the we do use SharePoint. It's actually our knowledge base as of the moment, but eventually they will transform that into something better. Um, so another another area where we use SharePoint is we have our own page. our team has their own page, and it's like a mini website, I guess it's what you call it, because it has details of the employees, what we do as a team, what are the updates, what are the documents that were recently uploaded, that will help us do our job. And there are different links to the different IS teams inside the company, so we can get into their knowledge base as well and know more about what they're currently doing, what the projects are. There's the SharePoint is also helpful with calendar, because a lot of people in our IT department use the calendar to schedule changes in the system. Um, they also use that to schedule outages, mostly notification, and yeah, I think those are the most important ones, or important areas where we use SharePoint.
I have a question, but it's not related to the management, but it's for the company. Do you have any gamification, like a gimmick, ano yun? Like a
Like
game
tugs tugs
for
tugs.
hindi ano yun, parang yung parang
Oh, sir,
may
English only.
edit naman to. Like a game to encourage the employees to work hard.
I guess
Do
what
you,
you're asking
uh,
is employee engagement.
yeah,
Yes,
okay.
we do. And actually, it's one of the important things that we must have in our team, for us to bond, and for us to, um, I guess, build the sense of teamwork. Because one of the in our culture, the teamwork is one of the most important, um, uh, I guess, qualities why our department became successful. One of the things that we do is we have a monthly breakfast. So what we do is we get a budget from our boss, and then we buy breakfast, and we arrange the tables in such a way that it looks like a buffet breakfast, and people can just grab anything they want to eat. Uh, Coffee is overflowing, and other types of drinks and food, of course. So that's one example. And we also, in this coming weekend, we actually have an outing. So I guess this is common to the BPOs. You go to a certain place, like a private pool in Pansol or Antipolo, and just, you know, spend time with your team. The other employee engagement would be, um, we give out, um, we we give for the top performers that we have for the year. We send them to training to be ITIL certified. So we already started that last year, and we've been able to send 3 people, and all of them passed the ITIL foundation. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I am an ITIL certified. I'm already in the intermediate level. So, so far there has been 2 certifications. The first one was ITIL Foundation, of course, because that's where you need to start. The second certification I got is Service Operations. I'm planning to get my third one, which is continuous process improvement, or um, yes, sorry, continuous. I forgot what the acronym is,
CSI.
but that's the
I think it's CSI.
continuous
Continual
service
service
improvement. There you go.
improvement.
Continual service improvement. Sorry about that. So there, maybe next year. But anyway, those are the things that we do to keep our staff motivated. Um, I also want to share that we are proud because we are proud of our group because we could probably say that in the past 2 or 3 years, no one really we don't have people who resigned because they're happy with what they're doing, and we don't have a problem with absences because we see people coming in every day doing their daily task and they're happy to do it. So that's the environment we want to maintain in our group. We want it to be fun and we don't want it to be boring. And as managers, we make sure that we develop each individual and make them become successful. Some of the members that we have in the past 3 years already moved to different levels of IT or different departments of IT because that's what they wanted to do when they joined the company. So one example there is we also have an IT department who um, does the packaging for the software so that once it's installed on the desktops or on any computer, it's already programmed to work with the other software. So we have around 4 to 5 guys already who started as technicians as well, but moved into that department. Um, we have we also have a person who got promoted as a software licensing administrator. And this is basically the work is they get in touch with the vendors to acquire license, and they deal with the licenses that expires and um, how to apply the network licenses being used by the specialized applications um, that are useful for the engineers. So things like that.
Sir, another question. Let me go back to the laptops. Are you provided with a company laptop? And do you do surprise audits for employees?
Yes, I'm actually using one right now. Um, Skype is, by the way, is not a program that is allowed on our laptop, but I have my own admin account. I just disable some stuff and install it, and voila, we're talking to it now. I audit when. Can you be more specific when you talk about or when you ask about audit?
Sir, for example, like you as a manager, you will surprisingly um, go to one of your employees and then ask about the applications that are installed. Yeah, it's like a surprise inspection of their laptop, sir.
Oh, okay. No, not really. The we I guess we part of the culture that we're trying to promote in our office is also integrity, and this is one bad example. The the thing that I did right now, install Skype, but there's a good purpose to it. That's why I'm willing to take the risk. But anyway, I don't normally do that. People also in our case or in our team, they don't install stuff that's not work related. Most of them, however, while working, they are also using their mobile phones. And I guess it's been there. It's part of the culture that everyone has accepted as long as their work is not affected. I guess in relation to that, we're pretty strict with illegal files such as movies, illegally acquired music, and illegally acquired software. Um, People back then shared their stuff over the laptops or the desktops in the office. So um, they bring their own portable hard drives and connect it there and share files. But we've come to realize that it's also a risk for the team because we have a IT code of conduct, and that does not allow us to do those. So that's probably the area that we're being strict on. File sharing. They are not supposed to share files using the company resources.
Uh, Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kim Almasan. My question is about conflict. Sir, how do you resolve conflicts between employees or teams, or even your own
Mm.
conflict in the company?
Um, uh, okay. So we our practice is we usually have to do our investigation. For example, a staff um, told us that one of our staff is not doing their job well and it's affecting them. I would need to get information from that person who reported it, and it has to be in a form of a written or a documented incident. So they send me an email. I gather all the details. I talk to them, and we also do our investigation to um, clarify or to find out if what they're really reporting is accurate. So we have all the system we need, and once we gather all the information, we immediately talk to the person involved, and we discuss what the issues are, and they would need to he or that person would need to improve. If not, then we do another session, and the I guess what you could say is it can escalate to a disciplinary action. So um, another conflict, another another conflict, or another way on how we manage conflict is we always we have this charter. It's a description on how what's important to our team and how we're supposed to apply them, and it's all based on the core values of the company: integrity, teamwork, and respect. So we always we use that because the people who built that is our own team as well, and we have all agree it's like um it's a written document, and we have all agreed that that's how we're supposed to deal with things, especially with conflicts. So we always go back to that, to our values, and um, we always tell people the reason behind our success, and it's those core values that we practice until now. So um, well, another example is when another IS team, which is totally separate from our group, has an issue with one of our staff. Um, Usually, they will also escalate to their manager, and then the communication will be from between the manager. So I talk to their manager about the incident, and of course we again gather information. We talk about it, and we always focus as managers. We always focus on the resolution of the problem. We don't focus on who is to be blamed or who's at fault. Um, and so we always um, practice that we need to focus on resolving the issue rather than blaming the people who's at fault. And I guess there's a good benefit to that in your team, because if you show them that that's how you deal with things, then eventually that's how they're gonna deal with conflicts themselves as well.
Sir, do you follow open door policy?
We no, because we really don't have a door in our room. It's it's uh it's an open space, and as managers we're not separated from the room, and we like that kind of setup because part of the job is to mingle with the staff on a daily basis, so they will feel more closer to you, and um, they will feel that they have they're always engaged, and they would not be afraid to tell you anything. So if they have any concerns, they just approach you and let you know right then and there. um, so I guess that's we're more comfortable in that kind of setup. So to answer your question, if it's an open door policy, um, technically it is. So yep, yeah, we do. Hold on, please. Wait lang, may interview ako, ha? My daughter.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, Earlier during the incident management questions, you um, specified one of an incident like an engineer forgetting his password, right?
Mm-hmm,
Are
mm-hmm.
there security measures that you follow to ensure that he is the one that is using that account and not actually a different person?
Yes, good question. Yeah, there's a process for validation. Um, the process for validation is we call their mobile phone. If you're familiar with the system of OTP, so there's a mobile number registered on their account. We call that we call the mobile phone, and if they answer, if the same person answers, then um, you'll know right away that it's the person you're talking to. Another thing is we ask them their username and whom they're reporting to, and if those information are validated, we proceed with a password reset.
Sir, do you also, like the other companies, do you also ask your employees to change their passwords every 2 to 3 months for security
Yes,
measures?
that's kind of part of the system already. It's programmed to prompt the staff to change their password every 3 months. Um, in our department as well, we have multiple logins. So some of them require us to change every 3 months. Some of them 6 months. Some of them they don't. So yeah, well, we have that kind of setup in the company.
Sir, that would be all our questions for you, and we would like to thank you for your time and effort.
it uh, it's my pleasure. This is actually the first time I had this um, interview experience, and it's quite good. It's like I'm applying for uh, a managerial position in an IT company. So you guys have good questions. I guess I just want to end this with um, in when you're pursuing an IT career, you would have to determine which path do you want because there are um, multiple departments or multiple fields. So if you're passionate about providing service to customers, then help desk could be the job for you. If you're passionate about programming, then software development is um, probably for you, and it's actually the highest paying job, IT job as of the moment. And well, like I said, there are other fields, and it's up to you to discover which one do you want to do, I guess, for the rest of your life. But good luck to you guys. Hopefully, this interview will give you the highest group grade.
Sir, can you give us advices for us ITIL students who are currently taking ITIL?
What do you mean? Your subject is ITIL, or you're about
Sir,
to?
advice for after we graduate.
Oh, okay. Well, ITIL is, I guess, the foundation is more focused more on um, the service desk environment or help desk environment. But we don't discount the other IT department. Um, but it's good to have a good understanding of how the process works and why we have this. Um, because eventually, if you move to different places in IT, you would appreciate the knowledge of ITIL. So, what's your course, by the way? Is it BSIT?
BSIT. I mix
Okay,
ITIS.
ITIS. So, does your course does your course focus on programming, or
Everything.
it's general IT and business?
Sa IS, in IS, more on business and IT programming database. Everything.
Okay, okay, yeah, good. Um, yeah, well, after you graduate, I guess if you feel like you wanna specialize into if you feel like you want to specialize in a certain type of IT, then you could study again, or maybe work first and then discover what you really want to do. Because if you don't like what you're doing, it's hard to become successful. So some people discover their I guess their interest or their calling when they're already working. So well, it's different from each individual. It's just really up to you guys. What do you want to achieve, or what do you want to do for the rest of your life? I guess, yeah, I guess. Um, I hope that helps.
And Hi, Sky. So, thank you, sir, or Kuya Hesron, for the
Okay.
time.
Okay, sure guys. Thank you guys. Good luck and I'm I can be reached in Facebook, so you can give my contact to them. So if you have any questions, just feel free to send me a message in Facebook or LinkedIn.
Thank you po.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.